Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. It's time in this video to have a look at some of the old vehicles that were removed and make a case for them bringing them back, which, to be honest, nowadays I think is something that should happen. It's been long enough at the end of the day. Some additional news as well. First of all, one of the Riddler leaks did change. The last one is actually two warrior siblings from the east watched their cousin be defeated by the Finns. So it's slightly changed. Maybe that will change what people think it is, and we'll kind of go forward from there. I kind of like these Riddler leak things. I think it's pretty fun to pontificate and have a bit of fun with it. The other part as well is the gambling video hit 1,000 likes. So what we're going to do on stream today is I'm going to open 80 million SL worth of boxes. We're going to do it all live on stream. Come check it out, see what's there, and I'll make a video tomorrow about the findings too. So we'll see how much 80 million SL will get you in this summer setup. As always, make sure to subscribe to the channel as we continue to make more and more content. Let's get into the meat and two veg. In War Thunder, we have a constant stream of vehicles which are changed, updated, removed, added. It's completely crazy the amount of changes that happen over time. And when I think about the history of War Thunder, there's been so many vehicles that have been removed. It's just kind of sad as that newer players cannot get access to them. And I'm not talking about ones that are available in the gacha boxes. I'm not talking about ones that they bring back in the battle pass and stuff like that. I'm talking about vehicles that were in tech trees that they have just straight up removed. If you want examples of this, obviously the easy ones are for Germany, where a metric ton of them have been removed over time. You have stuff like the Panther II. You also have the Tiger II 105, both vehicles that were removed from their respective BR brackets. And then also you have the Mouse, but at least the Mouse comes back once a year as kind of a favoured son. You also have the Coelian, the Flak Panda 341 that was removed. All of these removed because they were deemed as fake. And to be honest, they are. They weren't ever fully finished. They weren't ever fully, recognized. But the problem is, I have lived long enough and played War Thunder long enough to now see vehicles added to the game which are added specifically because they are fake, because of balance changes, whether it's the F-16AJ for the Japanese, even things like the J6K for example, or many of the vehicles that are added in ways where they were never going to be able to actually do stuff like that in real life, such as the Radkampfwagen, which has abilities which it would have never had if it actually went into full service. So the problem you have is you have this set of vehicles that was removed for being inauthentic, and not just the German vehicles, but some others too. And you also have vehicles which are left in the game because they are authentic, but they are put there for balance reasons. The R2Y2s, the F-16AJ, the Kronstadt, and also other naval vehicles which were added, which were never really finished. Even stuff like the J6K1, which came in as the Operation Frost event vehicle, that one was never realized either, and has a really dodgy armament compared to probably what it should have had, even if it was ever built. Even things like the Horton, which is more of a mishmash of different vehicles. So I ask you, why, in this setting, were those vehicles removed for Germany? The whole point of them is that they were supposed to be replaced with vehicles which were more, which made sense to replace them with. So they were going to bring in historical, realistic vehicles that would replace these in the tech tree. So they added, for the Panther II, the Tiger II 105, they added the Bulldog, they added the good old M48A2 for the Germans, and then a ton of light tanks around the BRs too to try and help them out. The problem with this is none of these vehicles now are at the same BRs as the Panther II or the Tiger II 105. None of them actually effectively fixed the issue. None of them actually take the area that the Panther II and the Tiger II 105 inhibit and control that area. The Panther 2 and the Tiger 2 105 at the moment are 7.0 vehicles. The only 7.0 vehicle in the German tech tree right now is the Kugelblitz, which you cannot run as a lineup by itself. The Flakpanzer 341 is at 6.3, which is better, but once again, there isn't an AA at 6.3 for Germans. You have the Zasora 45 at 6.0, but the power levels between these two are incredibly different. So you have these two vehicles, the Panther 2 and the Tiger 2 105, that would easily just plump back into the tech tree, and you would have a lineup that you could run at 7.0. The Kugelblitz, the Panther 2, the Tiger 2 105, and also, of course, the Aviation 2 with the Horton, the ME-262, the good old Jabbo, the strike aircraft version of the ME-262, and the replacements that they added in, such as the M48 or any of the other ones, don't fit that BR bracket. So it's a perfect opportunity just to bring them back now and say, right, we tried to put in replacements, we put in what were classed as more real vehicles, and it just didn't work. Instead, they moved up BR. But since they're not doing that, and since there seems to be no plans at the moment for additional lineups for that area for Germany, you have this ridiculous area of rank 4 to rank 5 Germany, where it just goes straight from 6.7 all the way up to 7.7, with very few vehicles in between. Basically, you jump a whole BR bracket from 6.7 to 7.7, and you only get the Weasel 1A4 at 7.3, which is not a vehicle you want to run by itself, and then also the Kugelblitz, which is exactly the same. Are people going to pick a lineup of just the Kugelblitz, or are they going to play the BMP-1, the M48A2, the Marder A1, the Leopard 1, the Raketen Automat, the Raketen Jagdpanzer 2, the DF-105, the Marder 1A3, all of these vehicles being around 7.7 and 8.0. But by the point of getting to 7.7 or 8.0, you have this huge gap from 6.7 to it. And what this means is when people start grinding through the 7.7 or 8.0 area, they have a very negative experience with Germany because they do not have any lineups quick enough. If, let's say, you grind out the Leopard 1 and you decide you just want to play the Leopard 1 when you get it, which is a fair assessment. There's a lot of people who want to do that. So in order to research an M48 or a Marder A1 or a Raketen Automat or even the Weasel to play alongside the Leopard 1, you have to put in a ton of matches with it, and your backup vehicles are the Kugelblitz or the Tiger 2H or the Bulldog, which are all awful vehicles at 8.0. Whereas imagine if you added back the Panther 2, the Tiger 2 105, and the Flakpanzer to that area. So you could put those vehicles in, it would mean that the gap between the BRs is smaller, therefore you could get more effective vehicles in that lineup if you wanted to. Now, just as a bit of advice, if you do want to play a new BR, it's usually better to research at least 2 vehicles from that BR, just so you have a backup as it goes forward. But I understand that there's a lot of people that don't want to do that, and that's fine, but just it'll make your life so much easier if you do that. But by adding back in these vehicles, as I talked about before, it would mean that it would lower that gap, making it a bit easier for people to get into. And right now we have these huge gaps in a lot of tech trees, which could easily be supplemented by vehicles that are ahistorical. You also have a bunch of other things, such as the Italian vehicles being removed from the German tech tree. The Italian vehicles were removed because Italy became a nation in War Thunder. It's as simple as that. They were removed from the Germans and added to the Italians. But now you can't get access to any of those Italian vehicles in the German tech tree. And they're really cool, and they have some unique camos that you'll never see. And also, with the Sparvieros that exist, there is 2 extra ones in the German tech tree compared to what there is in the Italian tech tree. So you technically get 2 special Sparvieros that you'll never see anywhere again. The vehicles that were removed from the USSR tech tree, the SBs that were removed, or the 2s that were removed, or other vehicles that just weren't turned up. All of these vehicles at this point are nearly 10 years removed from the game, if not more. And we just have never seen them back. And it just makes me so sad, because one of the key problems with War Thunder is the fact that you have an ever-expanding gap between people who have played for many years and people who have started today. And that sucks for the people who started today. The fact that they cannot get access to a lot of the stuff that I got access to back in the day because they either were not, they just didn't know about War Thunder. Maybe at this point they weren't even born when you think about how long War Thunder's been around. And that is just sad to me. And I just wish there was a fix. I wish that in the future, when it comes to War Thunder, we could find ways of making it so everybody could get access to all of the content that has been available over the years. Whether it's a system like they've added in the Battle Pass with the Naval box, whether it's a gacha box and, it has some of the older vehicles in it, or whether it's a system of doing different events to be able to get them back. Maybe it's specific updates that are tailored around certain ideas, such as fake vehicles or ahistorical stuff coming in. Who knows? But there are always options for these things, and it just sucks that they're not being realized right now. And hopefully in the future they are. I'll always bang on about these points because I think it's super important that people get access to the same amount of content as everybody. If we live in kind of this two-tiered system where you have haves and have-nots, you're never going to have balance in the game, and you're never going to be able to realize what the fun factor kind of is. And since a lot of people are just not allowed to have that, it really sucks. And I really, really hope they decide to change it. I have a ton of ideas on how to bring them back if they want to do special events around them or incorporate them with new vehicles, but hopefully it is just a patience thing. Hopefully eventually they turn back up so everybody can have the same fun that I had and many others had back in the day, getting these vehicles, playing these vehicles, and also continuing to play them, since they never remove them if you've already got them. As always, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. I'd just like to thank GMG Smiley, CD Beans, Chieftain Mike, EMN3 Galaxy, Tulio Pontecorvo, Brendan Quinn, Carrion Crow, Gus Irenicus, Pyman, Wartinder, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, Martinez, B. Young, Ozzy Panzer, Alan Hacker, Liam Shear, Opium Prime, Lafouche, Sem, Aslan, Uncle Bean, and Derek R. for supporting the channel.